The fourth character of Season 2 is Menat, a fortune teller from Egypt and apprentice to Street Fighter veteran Rose. Although Season 2 uniquely features only characters who have never been playable before, each Season 2 character actually has some discernible origin. What makes Menat so mysterious is that she comes from literally nowhere. For a brand new character, it is imperative that her in-game animation has to convey everything about her personality and style, which is why it's a good thing that Menat's design and presentation is excellent. Menat is the first Street Fighter from Egypt, making her the third world warrior hailing from the Middle East after Rashid and Pulamperna. Although popular media has always been entranced with the wonders of ancient Egypt, it's still great to see modern video games that feature playable characters representing the culture. Being an Egyptian apprentice of an Italian fortune teller, her move list is a mix of Rose's old soul blank moves, as well as a few moves referring to her Egyptian heritage. A command normal called Judgment of Anubis refers to the Egyptian god of the afterlife. Her command dive kick, Kamun kick, is named after Tutankhamun. Her critical art is called the Nefertep, named after the lotus child of Ptah who would later become the sun god Ra. Her two V-triggers are both named after the Egyptian god Thoth, god of wisdom, knowledge, and balance, and was later used as the model for a tarot deck, appropriate for the patron deity of a fortune teller. Of note is Thoth's purview over balance, which explains part of Menat's mission as a fortune teller, as she goes about revealing fortunes to both heroes and villains alike. Menat's costume is very smartly designed and easy on the eyes. The costume itself consists of simple and easily separated pieces with distinct color separations. Purple hair in a simple bob cut with a golden circlet, a black bodysuit, purple fabric sashes, blue accents, and gold highlights. A palette of mostly cool colors to contrast against the warm tone of her brown skin. Blue is actually an accent color you often see on Egyptian clothes and depicted in ancient artworks. It's also the most saturated color on Menat's whole costume, and is only used in two places: Menat's neckpiece, and also the frame of this oddly shaped cutout around her belly button. I was curious about this keyhole shape for a while, until I noticed that this shape somewhat resembles the kind of eyeshadow you see in Egyptian makeup. Historically, the actual eyeshadow is made from ground malachite, and would have something closer to a green hue, but when applied to certain skin tones, it takes on a color closer to the blue that's popularized by modern media. Everything about this design is visually functional and fun to look at, which leaves plenty of room for her animation to shine. If I haven't mentioned anything about Menat's story or personality, I don't actually need to because her animation expresses everything about her. She's peppy and easygoing, taking everything in stride and never sweating the details. Just look at this walk cycle. Seriously, I could watch this all day. Her attack animations may not pack as much power as the more serious fighters, but that's exactly it. Menat isn't taking this very seriously at all. Every animation has an unmistakable playful energy to it, from Menat's dance-like flourishes, or even how she balances and juggles the crystal ball during certain recovery frames. When she misses a critical art, she gives this overdramatic sigh like, "Oh no, poor me," as though throwing away 3 meters isn't even a problem for her. If I had to change anything, it'd be, yeah, you guessed it, the physics on her sash. If not for that though, Menat easily qualifies for having the best animation for this season of characters. As Rose's protege, she's supposed to be on this quest to reveal important future glimpses to certain key characters, but she's really not that committed to this task. In fact, her ability as a fortune teller to see into the future is probably responsible for her devil-may-care demeanor. Always having a glimpse ahead on life means never having to really stress out about anything. It also might explain why she has a bit of a temper when things don't go her way. I mean, she can see into the future. It's like the ultimate life hack. Things are supposed to go her way. These quirks put a really fun spin on Rose's legacy as the mysterious fortune teller, which is now left in the hands of this irresponsible child. Menat doesn't actually have a fighting style per se, since her attacks are mostly based on a magic floating orb. Her movements instead have a kind of grace and flexibility that reminds me more of rhythmic gymnastics, the kind that uses a rubber ball. Naturally, there's also some elements of Middle Eastern belly dancing in there to add that ethnic flair. She's also prone to cat-like motions every now and then. It could be a reference to the Egyptian reverence of cats as divine creatures, or it could just be that Menat really likes cats. I mean, now that I think about it, Menat herself is very cat-like, given that cats are also playful and generally dismissive of any sense of urgency. Throw together Menat's gymnastic movements, her playful personality, and her cat-like non-committal attitude, and you have yourself a girl who quite literally dances her way through life, and through fights. No, seriously, this walk cycle though. As a longtime Rose player myself, I also feel that Menat's moveset also puts the player into the mind of a fortune teller. Her long-range normals hit at specific angles, so one would need to anticipate where the enemy is going in order to land her strikes. Her reflect obviously requires some foresight into your enemy's fireball habits, and her orb setups place an emphasis on planning ahead. Most notable in this regard is her version of Rose's Soul Throw. Because Soul Throw is a ground-to-air throw, you have to do a bit of fortune-telling of your own to know that your enemy is going to jump and not attack at the apex of their arc. And look, she pouts when she misses! That's how I feel when I miss a Soul Throw! There is something really special when you can experience the personality and concept of a character through gameplay, and I think that's where Menat really shines. I often mention it, but I think it's time I embellish on why it's so important to express character, personality, and style through a character's in-game representation. Good animation is more than just knowing where to put key poses and having clear arcs of motion. An animator is also an actor, and it's the animator's responsibility to embody a character through their physicality and body language. This is especially true in fighting games, where the standard mode of play isn't exactly ideal for developing characters or telling stories. Animation in fighting games, even the slower ones, is also lightning fast, so it's important that every single frame and key pose counts. Menat, for the most part, is in character for every single frame, and that's why she's such a success. I have nothing but praises for Menat. She's got everything that makes a great fighting game character design, and I really hope we continue to see more of Menat in later installments. What does the future hold for Street Fighter? Where will fate take the World Warriors? Actually, who cares? Menat doesn't, and it actually doesn't matter that she doesn't really have any greater stake in the Street Fighter canon as a whole. You just keep on strutting and don't let anyone slow you down. And that wraps up today's a.b.i.torial. If you've got some comments about Menat, go ahead and drop us a like and soul throw your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to SugarPunch for more anime and game content, and be sure to check out our Patreon for a future glimpse at all of our upcoming videos. And before you start accusing me of having some kind of waifu bias because I only gave good feedback to Colleen and Menat, don't worry. Street Fighter V Season 2 ends on a strong note because next time, we're striding across universes. I'm a.b.i., and let's just appreciate this.